2414 is a podcast about finding hope and common ground through casual conversation. Like the friends on the road in the New Testament, in Luke chapter 24, verse 14, we want to walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. Thanks for walking with us.
Good morning, Washington. This is 2414, a podcast of people just talking. I don't know. No, it's a podcast about just casual conversation and the common ground we have with each other, regardless of what story a person may have. And today, their special guest or special person or interviewer, whatever the word is. Interviewee, whatever it is. We're joined today by Anna Koloen. Is it?
Yes, Koloen.
Okay, but it's not spelled like that.
No, and actually it's supposed to be pronounced Koloen because it's a Scandinavian name, but somewhere in my husband's family they decided that Koloen was best, and since I just married in, I didn't feel like I could change it. But it doesn't have any bearing on our nationality at all because my father-in-law was adopted.
Oh,
so
really?
The name has no bearing on.
It's just a name.
So it's
our
pretty
hereditary.
Just like an American name, I guess, because that's where it was adapted.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
Yep.
But Anna Koloen. All right. Sweet. Well, welcome. Thank you. And today we're also joined by a friend of the show, I think as Pastor Dan says, but Pastor David LaFour. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Yeah. So today we're just going to be hearing life stories, and we're just going to be sharing stories and just kind of see where the conversation takes us. So we're really excited to hear what you have to share. We're just going to throw questions and kind of we'll snowball from there and let it go. But we like to start each episode with highs, lows, and a question of the day. And today's question of the day is, if you could visit a country that you haven't been to yet, what would it be? And I always start us off, and it gets boring. So I'm going to have Pastor David start us off, and then we'll swing it over to me, and then we'll end with Anna.
Okay, so I'm supposed to have high and a low and country. Okay. Hi.
What's up?
Yeah, hello. Honestly, feeling better. It's nice.
Feeling better?
It's, I have my nose back.
You have a nose back?
Had a sore throat on Sunday. Nothing makes you appreciate being able to breathe normally again.
Yeah.
Like having a cold and preaching through it. Sunday was really good.
That's good.
And fiance had visited for part of the week before, so it was pretty great. Though I suspect, and she'll probably hear this on the podcast, I've not told her this, I suspect she's the one who gave me this cold, though she will claim she does not. She's very careful, but I also got COVID from her at one point, so, it's... you can only be so careful with diseases floating around in the air and whatnot.
Can only be so careful.
Yeah. Anyways,
so you're getting better.
Besides getting into my medical history and on the podcast.
When was your last tetanus shot?
Yeah, I know. No. I actually had no idea. I think it's... I don't know how... I don't know
19...
19... I was born in 1990, so probably 91.
Yeah, all right.
She's also not going to like that, my fiance, when she hears this.
All right. So low.
Oh, low. Yeah, I mean, low was being sick. It was the, high and low kind of go together there. Just in kind of zappy energy. And yesterday I really could have used, some energy. It was a long day. I think I was here from like 10 to 9 or something like that. And we had a lot of good stuff going on. Another, yesterday, just great event with the daycare at the preschool.
And, the open house.
Met a friend I hadn't seen since middle school there.
Wow.
It was funny. I was telling Jan, I was like, well, most, like, I don't have a name tag, so people are just going to assume I'm the age to be a father to one of these kids. And some guy comes out, he's like, David LaFour? I was like, Artem. It's wild. Some guy I haven't seen since, 2006.
Wow. So that's kind of roped in with the highs. It just...
No.
Fun stuff happening, and met old friends.
And if I can go to any country, one I haven't been to, I'd say Iceland. I want to go to Iceland.
Yeah. What for? Like
it looks strange, looks otherworldly. I like it. Lots of tundra and I don't know if they call it tundra or whatever, but
I don't know what the technical name of Iceland is.
It's a strange place. I mean, a lot of people at least according to their polls, a lot of people believe in fairies there, which I just find fascinating. So it's kind of like Bigfoot culture out here, but it's like fairy culture out there or something.
Weird.
And yeah, it just seems, I love far north. I want to see some more north. I think Northern Lights a little bit, but I like to see them a little bit more extreme. And I kind of like cold, out of the way places. So
like out of the way. I don't like cold. That's cold is the hard sell.
I do like the cold. I mean, there's like volcanoes and Reykjavik or whatever is the name. I mean, all these wild names. Just seems like a cool place.
Really otherworldly.
Anyways.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
Iceland would be really cool.
Shall we go to?
Well, we'll end with you so you can kind of get the feel of things. But for my highs, lows, let me think. I did not think about it. Well, I'll say highs were my sister, her brother were here this weekend just visiting. I know my sister had been to the Northwest once before, but not Washington, just on a choir tour. So first time in Washington, where we're from the Midwest. So it really is pretty otherworldly. So for them, so I was really excited to show them around Washington, my like local favorite places. Took them to Tacoma, Seattle,
and the gum wall.
And the gum. Have to see the gum wall. It's perfect for Seattle. Anywhere else that would be just weird.
Disgusting.
But it's like, that's Seattle. So
I could see it in Portland too, but
yeah, Portland would be. I have no idea, but they're pretty. Yeah, they're similar.
But it's a Seattle classic.
It's a Seattle classic staple. So it was really fun just seeing them.
It's nasty. I've seen people lick it before. Oh, tell you what, that's another low. Remembering that,
that would ruin my life. No, but yeah. So we took them around Washington. That was just really fun, and just be able to hang out, spend time with them. It's always really nice with family. Lows, I think it's just getting back into work. It's just concentrated time with family, and now just trying to jump back to work is always it's a jerk. It's like get whiplash.
Yeah,
it's kind of like metaphorically like going into it like, oh, all right, now I'm doing this again. All right, so just getting used to that. That's fine. A country I'd want to visit that I haven't been to, I'd have to say Ireland.
I'm going.
Have you been?
That'd be awesome.
I'll tell you in my story.
All right, we'll learn that soon.
Yes.
But yeah, for Ireland, for me, I do have, I'm not primarily Irish, but I do have some Irish in me. And then I love the culture of it, the music, the festivities, just the camaraderie of just Ireland, and just, I don't know. And it's all just the scenery of it. It's just very gorgeous and just, I don't know. Yeah, it's just something about it. Like, it just seems really fun to me. I think probably mostly the music. Music is like,
and the people are so warm.
Yeah.
And friendly.
I know I can't always, I've had a few conversations with older people from Ireland in the States, and I can maybe make out like 70% of what they're, like 50% of what they're saying, just because the thick Irish accent is, that's like its own language sometimes.
That's how my husband feels.
Really? Oh, wow. So Ireland for me. All right, Anna.
Yes.
Welcome again. So highs, lows, country you haven't been to.
Well, I would say a high is that this past weekend we got to go to a wedding that was moved up. It was a very special wedding for some really close friends of ours that we've known since both of their daughters, well, one when she was born and the other one when she was 2. And the older one was getting married. And the younger one's been dealing with some cancer, and they moved the wedding up so that she could be there, make sure, and it's between her treatments, be there and be able to participate in a good way. Yeah. And it was just a beautiful wedding and so meaningful. And so, that was a real high. Yeah. And also another high is that I retired in September, and I've been going back to work a little bit, filling in and subbing and when I want to. And my attitude is so different. when I go to work now.
Wow. In like a better way,
It's
or like
yes.
okay, good.
I feel like I get to work. I don't. I enjoy it so much more, and I don't know. It's just a whole different attitude and a great place to be. So that and I got to do some of that. I was out this morning on a route,
helping.
and it was fun. And then the low, I would say. Well, I've been kind of anticipating a little biopsy that I have to have on my tongue tomorrow, and it's the chances are that it's nothing, but I have to have it done tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. I kind of like to eat.
Like to not
I'm afraid.
be poked
like
around
in your head.
And they explain what they're going to do and how they're going to cauterize it at the end and everything. I'm like, maybe that was too much information.
No.
No, we're all getting
This
into
is
our medical
fascinating.
history. Shane,
Yeah, all right.
pull up those records.
Back in 2000.
if I'm lisping on Sunday, you'll know why.
Oh wow, that is interesting.
I think it's going to be fine. I'm hoping. I'm positive it's going to be fine.
If the doctors aren't worried, then
they don't seem to be. But
then you're probably
anyway,
good.
and a country that I have never visited would be that I'd like to go to is Italy.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Italy, but we, as as we look into my past here, both of my parents were from Ireland, and I have been. I actually lived in Ireland when I was between the ages of 3 and 5.
Really?
And my parents came out to the United States in the late 50s actually they came to Canada, to Vancouver, BC.
Oh.
They were married for 5 years, and then they had me in Vancouver, BC, and then we moved to England for 2 years, and my brother was born, and then we moved to Ireland for 3 years, and when I was 5 and my brother 3, we came to Tacoma, Washington.
What? Wow.
So, and I have been to Ireland a couple times when I was 9 and when I was 16, and let's see, and then when in 2003 was the last time that I went.
So I'm guessing you have family there still?
I do, and I'm going in June for 3 weeks with a friend.
Wow.
So we're going to visit family, and I do have a cousin also in England, and we're going to spend a little time there too. So anyway, you will love it if you get to go. You'll love it. It's so amazing. It's just a beautiful place.
I definitely want to put a tack on that. I'm really interested in hearing. But back up a little to Italy. Why? Why Italy?
I see the pictures, and I don't speak Italian. I don't have any Italian blood. I think both sides of my family are pretty well rooted in probably Ireland, with a little bit of Scottish roots somewhere back there.
Yeah.
But I also do love red wine.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay to say?
He lives in Tacoma.
I guess it's too late. Yeah. But, I would love to, I read on an airplane once that you could walk along these coastline trails, like from one little village to another, and have a little something to eat and drink there. And then you could take a cab all the way back to the place you started if you were a little too tired, or perhaps you might have had a little too much along the way. Not that
I feel like it's very possible in Europe. Everything's walking distance, or a lot of things are close proximity, which is...
I'd like to do that. I'd like to go to Italy and just see it for myself.
Yeah. And
I don't want to go on a cruise. I want to go into the...
fly in and just embrace the city. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Doesn't sound cold and miserable enough.
I love warm. When I go on vacation, I do like warm, but we are going to Ireland, and it will probably not be warm. No. But it's still, I'm used to that. It's very similar to Seattle, maybe a little cooler, but
Yeah. It's still, I have no idea what the climate is like there, but I don't know. It's
wet.
Interesting. Wet. So it's like here.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, sweet. Well, I guess, we'll kind of pick up where we kind of stopped in with you being from Ireland, but first of all, thanks for being on the show. It's
You're
just,
welcome.
it's already fascinating. So I know you from, well, you sing on Sunday mornings with the praise team, praise band. And I know you from singing from that. And I also know a little bit of what you did before you retired, but I'm going to pretend to not. So if my questions ever seem kind of, like I definitely why are you asking this? You know this.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But we back up a little. So both your parents are from Ireland. What led them to move? Well, first to Canada, but then all around when you were younger.
Well, a lot of people move out of Ireland, and especially at that time because there weren't a lot of jobs.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was working for a bank in Belfast, and my dad is from Belfast. She was actually from County Roscommon in the south of Ireland.
Okay, and Belfast is one of the major cities?
It's a major city in Northern Ireland.
It's northern, yeah.
It's part of the United Kingdom. It's
okay.
the little portion that is part of that.
Yeah.
I think there's 32 counties in Ireland, and 6 of them are in Northern Ireland, if I remember right.
Okay. But your family is from Northern Ireland.
My dad's family. My mom's family is from the south of Ireland, but she had an uncle that was a bank manager in Belfast, and she got a job in the bank.
Okay.
And she and her friend had planned to move out to Vancouver, BC, on a boat. But her friend left earlier and went on the boat and got settled, and then my mother was to follow out. But in the meantime, she was at a dance, and she met my dad. And she was going on the boat. She wasn't turning her ticket in or anything, but you know, the whole time up until when she left, they dated. And pretty soon he made arrangements to follow her out to Canada.
Wow.
And they married a year later. And then they lived in Vancouver area, and then they lived on Vancouver Island for a little while.
Okay.
And then they had me, and then they moved to England. I think my dad really wanted to be closer to his family.
Yeah.
His dad wasn't in the best of health, and he wanted to be closer.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Ireland, to the Belfast area.
Okay.
Is where we lived, and
After
a place
moving-
called Dunmurry.
After moving back.
After moving back.
Okay,
After
okay.
moving back, yeah. They moved, into the Belfast area.
Okay.
And then, but my mom really wanted to get back to North America somehow.
Yeah.
And before my dad had left Canada, he had worked for the Canadian Plywood Association, and there weren't any jobs available there, so he applied at the American Plywood Association, and he got a job in the Tacoma area.
Yeah.
He was their PR person. He had this long title, like the Director of Communication for the American Plywood Association, said on his card.
Jeez, I thought that was like a thing. PR for plywood.
Yeah.
Guess everyone needs some.
Right when that spotted owl thing came up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he was the PR person for the American Plywood Association.
What's the spotted owl?
It's a endangered species around here.
Oh, okay.
A lot of mills shut down because they weren't allowed to log their lands because of the spotted owl.
Oh, so he had to deal with a lot of
and he was, he being in plywood, he knew a lot of the people that ran those and owned those family-owned businesses. And so he felt like there could be more of a middle ground, not just, the environmentalists wanted no logging at all. And then, and I don't know everything. This is from me this was way back.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So I don't know all of it, but anyway, so they eventually got back here with the American Plywood Association, and then my sister was born. So we had me born in Canada, my brother in England, and my sister in the United States.
Each of you were born in a different country.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how's the citizenship work in this family then? You guys
How does that?
It was what happened is that both of my parents became naturalized citizens before I turned 18.
Okay.
And then I automatically became an American citizen.
Okay. So is that how,
That's
if you're under 18 while your parents kind of get that citizenship, it's inherited to the children?
If they become citizens,
okay,
then the children automatically. My sister already was, but my brother and I, we became citizens that way. Otherwise, I guess we'd have to have a little green card.
Yeah.
Are you
the alien
Canadian citizen then too?
I am. Yeah, I had a Canadian passport actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you still have that, or is that expired?
I don't have it now. Because I have the American one, and I've heard I could get an Irish one because of your grandparents, up to your grandparents if they were born. And there's some good things, I guess, with that, but I don't know.
Not enough to research.
Maybe someday if I go, like I've always thought it would be fun to, in our retirement, to go and live there for 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And then go and see things and see the family.
Yeah.
And have my family come and visit me while I'm there. But, I don't know if that's in the cards or not. It's a dream.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be.
Wow.
Yeah. See, if I was there and you and Lauren came over, I'd have a spot for you.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But, so how did moving really affect you? Well, were you too young to really
too
care?
Young. We moved a couple places, but within this area. And eventually, when I was 9, we moved into a house right behind Federal Way High School on 11th Avenue.
Oh, okay.
And
so really not too far.
Not
from
far
St. Luke's.
from. Yeah, it's really close by here. And my parents, because they were from Ireland, chose the Episcopal Church to go to because it was closest to the Church of England, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
And so two churches down the road here. That's where I grew up at the Church of the Good Shepherd.
So you grew up really
right
here.
Yeah.
Wow. So So your roots are very much here.
Yes.
In Federal Way.
And then my parents, my mother's cousin, well, actually her cousin's daughter came to visit us when I was a teenager. And is somebody that you all know if you go to St. Luke's. Her name is Anne McClockery, was what her name was, but she's Anne Weezy.
Yeah.
And she was visiting, and my mother had a dinner party, and she thought, well, since we have an extra space at the table, we'll invite the widower down the street, Mr. Weezy, and they hit it off. And within not too long, they were getting married, and so she still lives in that same house, down the street from where I grew up.
So there, wow.
And they had 4 kids that they had, but Mr. Weezy had 2 kids that are right around my age. So, and I still see his daughter Kim. I still get together with her.
You're still close with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah,
that's really fascinating. Despite how much you moved around, growing up, you very much settled in this area.
Yes.
Did you ever imagine that? As you continue to get older, were you ever thinking,
No.
well, I'm going to move to Texas, or I'm going to move somewhere else in the world?
Nope. I never thought about it. I really love the Northwest. I really do. I know people like to move to warm places and live, especially in retirement, but I can't imagine not living right around here somewhere. In this state. I don't have to live necessarily in the Federal Way area, but but in the state.
Yeah,
it's hard to get the Northwest, I think.
Yeah, you keep coming back.
I've been all over. Yeah, it's hard to beat. So even just the smells. I'd come home from seminary, being out in the Midwest, and just miss those the winter smells out here of that moss and what do they call it? Detritus.
Mildew and wet.
Yeah, I know it's like fungus and moss, but it's home is what the smell is.
Yeah. So I imagine, because I've only lived here for 2 years, so nothing much. But you guys grew up here, so you guys probably have so much nostalgia, with the views, with the everything.
Even just moving up from Oregon, it's weird nostalgia moment. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they hit you in random places, but I was in the Fred Meyer parking lot, right? Romantic place. Okay.
in Oregon or
no, here.
Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah, the one by Twin Lakes, Fred Meyer. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Romantic place, right? So,
Yeah. Oh, favorite place.
favorite, love it. Go on lovely strolls, but it was just something about the temperature, the breeze, the smells, because Puget Sound's not that far off, so it does kind of pick up in the air. The angle of the sun, it's like, oh yeah, this is what home is like.
Yeah.
Like there's all these like intangibles I want to be able to write down that you recognize when you're there. Now, not to say I didn't love Oregon. I mean, I have a mug right here.
Oh yeah,
and Oregon's part of the Northwest. It's just a different part.
It is
different in a different way. So yeah,
ever so different. Yeah. Oh, cool. Wow. So growing up then, so you grew up in this kind of area. Where did you went to school locally as well, or were you homeschooled? Or
No, I went to Mirror Lake Elementary.
Oh wow. Okay.
I went to Sacagawea Junior High, it was called at the time, and Federal Way High School.
did they change the name
What's that?
of Sacagawea Junior? Oh, because it's middle school
haven't.
now.
They haven't changed it yet. They've changed Totem to Evergreen,
Interesting.
but
Yeah,
I don't think they've changed Sacagawea yet, but I think it's coming.
They wanted them to all be like kind of American Indian names, the middle schools.
Initially,
There's like
because we have Sequoia. And,
Sequoia. Yeah, it's the one that's right next to where I grew up, Sequoia. So
yeah. Anyway, there's
Yeah.
Ilahi,
Something.
Totem.
Okay.
Kylo.
Kylo, and Sequoia.
I don't know. I'm still learning Federal Way High School. I'm
I kind of know because if we haven't gotten to what I've been doing for the last 31 years, but I guess I did say I drive a school bus, and I retired from that, but I get to go back and do fun things there. And so I know the district really well, and I do know all about the schools.
That's for working for them and driving buses. Yeah. I guess because you still do it now. Mm-hmm. But how long did you do that?
31 years.
31 years.
Yeah.
Would you say you feel more comfortable driving a bus than you would like a normal car? Or is it still
my bus that I had? I was very comfortable driving it. But only a few times in my school bus career did I ever have my own big bus, usually on a summer run.
Yeah.
Generally, I would do special needs buses.
Okay.
Because I just really prefer that. I like the small amount of kids, and I like getting to know them and their parents.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like they needed you more, and I liked that.
Yeah.
Being able to help them with whatever.
And that was special needs for the school? So you'd still take them to school and the kids to school and everything else? Like field trips? I don't know. Did you have to... I'm curious. I don't know too much about the...
Whenever there's a field trip, then by seniority, there's a bid sheet, and then drivers sign up to do that. And so depending on what your availability is or if you want to. But usually you're just going to go and do your regular shift with that. Usually you'd have... If you have a full schedule, you have 4 schools to take in the morning and 4 to take home in the evening. And maybe in the middle you might have a midday.
So So you bus for more than just one school.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I for some reason always thought like it was just like you're the bus driver for that one school and one school only.
No.
How does that work schedule wise?
Yeah.
Or you go in like from high school, middle school to elementary?
Yeah, it's always the high school goes in first, then the middle school, then there's 2 bell times for the elementaries.
Yeah, because they had a AM, P. I don't.
They have an early one starts at maybe 8:20 and another one starts at 8:50 or something. So that we can get them all there.
Just got to ask. Did you ever do Lakeland Elementary?
I did.
Okay, yeah, that was mine. I mean, I wasn't part of the special needs class, so I don't.
I think it's a pretty new building. It was probably not the same building that you went to.
It was like the oldest elementary school building at the time when I went there.
Did they Is it still there, or did they tear it down?
No, they tore it down.
Oh, okay.
Put up a much more
Habitable,
significantly better building, but probably less fun quirks.
Less fun quirks. Not falling through the floor.
Yeah, but Lakeland Elementary, Route 1. I still remember I was bus 1 because my teacher and my mother both knew me and were afraid I was going to forget the bus. It's 1. Here's a giant 1. Hold this. Hold this.
Don't walk
on everything that you have.
Chances are I knew your bus driver.
Yeah, probably. I don't remember their name. I talked loud. They. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, so you on average had four different pickup drop-offs, and then 4 at the end of the day. Does it line up where as soon as you're done dropping kids off at school, you're picking them up, or is there a
Only
break?
on the last day of school when they let out really, really early, and you just stay on the clock and sooner get them there and you start taking them home. That's the last day.
Yeah.
But there's about a 4-hour window. So if you don't bid a midday or you don't get a midday, then you have 4 hours.
So is that?
And
are you required to stay with the bus those 4 hours, or is it
oh no,
you're off of work? Oh,
You're
okay.
off. And I a lot of times that was my gym time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really
nice.
Nice.
It worked out great. Yeah, I go to the gym and eat my lunch and go back to work.
Yeah.
It's just and if I had a midday, I would squeeze in the gym, bring my lunch with me, and get back to work and eat it, and then I had to cinch up everything, but just depending on what the schedule was.
And I got a burning question I've always meant to ask the school bus driver.
Oh, yeah. Your dreams come true.
Well, so snow days.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes at Lookout is there's no reasonable way that buses couldn't drive this. Do you feel that way? Or are you well, it's better safe than sorry?
I'm better safe than sorry, girl. I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you get excited about snow days in the same way that students would?
I don't get excited until it's called off.
It's
not necessarily snow so much as it is the ice and the hills that we have around here.
Yeah.
That's true.
And getting stuck.
So it might be good in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's good everywhere
so true.
over the route.
It can vary through the district so much, I would just as soon drive an extra day in June than risk it on the icy, with other people's children. I just,
Fair enough.
I just don't want to.
So you never made the decision. It's always
no,
someone else.
I never made. But they had.
Do they, ask
have
you?
a team. No, well, they would have. They were always asking for a crew that would go out with some of the administrators in the morning. If they know the night before that there's an iffy chance, or maybe they have to plan it that morning. But if they knew the night before, some of the drivers would even. I know a couple of them that got to take the bus to their house and then get in it the next morning so they could check out this particular area, and then they'd be on the radio saying what the conditions were in this neighborhood. But the crazy thing about that is that if you're checking the roads at 5 o'clock in the morning, those conditions can completely change in a couple of hours. It might be fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden a freezing fog comes in. And now there's a layer of icy, slippery stuff all over the road,
Yeah.
And it's really hard to call it. I know, people get mad when they call it off because now, especially if you have, you've got to figure out something for your kids and, some daycare and all that. I know it's hard, but that was also the beauty of working for the school district when I had kids is that we're on the same schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
On the same schedule.
The kids are, snow day, we're all going, yay.
Well, I was excited.
Yeah.
Every
That's
time.
so funny. Yeah. Then so you drop off your family too, or
Did I drop off my?
yeah.
Well, my kids were in 2nd and 4th grade when I first started driving the school bus. And at that time, we lived behind Woodmont Elementary, and we lived right next door to my in-laws. And my father-in-law had just retired. So on the mornings that I got the call to come in when I was still subbing before I became a contracted driver,
Yeah.
I would let him know that I was being called out to go, I was going to go in, and the kids were in the house. They were second and fourth grade. And the second grade, my daughter was really actually more in charge than my son. She was actually the one telling him to brush his teeth and do whatever needed to be done.
She was more of a mother.
She was. But then my father-in-law would come in and make sure that everybody was out the door, things had happened so they could, but, and sometimes I would be driving to the school that they were going to, which for my daughter, when she was in junior high at Totem, now Evergreen, she didn't really care for that when I would come bounding out of the bus and say hello.
Yeah. She was at that age where it's like, oh no.
Her friends are like, hi, Mrs. Koloen. And I thought I was being invited over, but I guess I really wasn't.
No, that's what you're supposed to do as a parent. You have to embarrass your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So that's kind of just life as a bus driver. But how did you get into that world?
Well, a friend at the gym, there used to be a gym in Federal Way called Living Well Lady that was a ladies' gym. And she worked out at the gym, and she was a school bus driver. And she was the one that was telling me that this was a great job to have when you have kids, because you're on the same schedule. And at that time I was working as an optical assistant down at South Center. Inside Penny's, there was a private doctor's optometrist office, and I was just filling out the cards and helping people select their glasses and all of that.
Yeah.
It didn't make very much money at all, and it didn't have insurance or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think about all of that so much, as just that I needed a change. I need, but I mean, I didn't know that I was going to be able to contribute something to our retirement and all of that until partway into that, many years of doing it, and then looking ahead, and how having a job where you work for the school district is a really good thing for medical insurance and benefits you might not even see that as your part of your wage. But when you consider all of that, that's one of the reasons that I got to retire when I did, after I got my 30 years in, then that opened that up for me. So
and I feel like it's fun now to be on the latter end of that, where I don't know, you're saying it it sounds like you're talking about it and it was such a good idea, because now you're literally at the spot where I'm retired now, and it was worth it.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it.
That's awesome.
And I have so many wonderful friends, and I think that's part of why I go back too, is I miss those people. They are just the salt of the earth, good people that are working there, and they will do anything for you. They'll, if you have a memorial and you needed food or something, they will just, and they're good cooks too. They're just amazing people. So.
Wow. And I guess it really speaks to it, that you did it for 30 years. So must have been a good gig.
It was. I mean, it certainly had its highs and lows.
Okay.
If we were going to say what the highs and lows of that were, that would take curious. A long time.
Well, what I would like, are there any unique joys you think that pertain to that job that you wouldn't have had otherwise?
Unique joys. Well, I mean, just the day to day. I mean, being there for. I think the trust that people put in you when they put their children on the bus, and the feeling that you get after you've earned that trust with the parents. And even if you were gone a day and then you come back and they're so happy to see you, even though somebody took them and picked them up, and they did, they might have been a little late, but they got there. There's something satisfying about being the person that was entrusted to take their children, and they feel good about that, I don't know, just something about that.
Yeah. That's really fascinating. Yeah. So before that, you said you worked with an Tom, what was it?
Yeah. An optometrist for 10 years off and on. Just out of high school until I was 29 when I started driving the school bus. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you ever think, so you went straight from high school to this?
Because my friend, that is actually my son's godmother, she was an optician at that same place.
Yeah.
And she actually helped me get the job, which she went to this church right down the road there, the Church of the Good Shepherd, the Episcopal Church. And so she helped me get that job. And then then she moved away, but I stayed and I worked there off and on as I was having kids and everything. Because I got married very young. I was 19 when I got married. And
I feel like that, well, I'm not from here. Was that normal for like this area?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But my husband and I started dating when I was 15 in high school. We went to all of the dances, the grub tolos and the homecoming and the proms.
So you guys are high school
that.
sweethearts.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we've been married 41 years.
Wow. That's
So
from you met in high school?
yeah.
And what was your husband's name?
Sam.
Sam. So
Yeah.
okay, you met Sam in high school. Is there a fun story with that? How you guys met, started dating?
Oh, well, actually, one of my friends grew up with him and kind of, I guess, dated him, but not seriously. And then she went. She dated a lot of people.
Well,
this girl.
high school flings,
She was fun, but she said, I'm not going out with Sam anymore, and I'm not going out with this other guy either. And you should ask one of them to go to the grub tolo, because it was the girls that asked the boys, the tolo.
Yeah.
And I was very nervous and shy about doing that, but I said, well, I'm not really interested in the other one, but Sam, I would think I'd be interested in going with him.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if I was going to get up the nerve. But she I think she prepped him a little bit. And then during the lunch hour at school, I followed him all around the hall.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of the worst when you're trying to find that unique moment.
Yeah.
Finally, nothing ever.
I finally asked him, and he said yes, and I said, really?
So you had no hope in yourself.
I didn't. and then that was that. We went to all the dances and everything, and my mother loved him, and she said, after a few years, she said, if this doesn't work out with you and Sam, I'll know it's your fault.
Sure, my mom really pressured it.
Yeah, he fixed everything at her house for her, drawers that weren't working or plumbing or whatever.
Oh yeah,
he was good at that. So, and my dad was not. He was the writer. He was
a writer.
PR guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He did not assemble anything, and Sam was really good at that. So,
yeah, that's really cool. And you guys, met in high school, which is, because I feel like, well, you got married at 19, which because I think, so I'm from the Midwest. Like a lot of people start families very young there,
yes.
And so that seems more like a Midwest thing. And now,
yeah, it was. I mean, my parents were. My mom was 25 or 26 when she got married, and she was 31 when she had me. And then she was 39 when she had my sister. So, it wasn't necessarily something that was in our family at all to get married young like that. But, I did. And it's all worked out as far as, we're still together.
Yeah.
I'd say for the most part now, that'd be very strange.
That's true.
But, most of my friends from high school that I'm still in touch with, I think one of them's married.
Really?
And the rest aren't, dating somewhat seriously or long term. But of course, our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, that's different.
Part of kind of
just different generational
different
expectations.
Yeah. But I had a thought and I can't remember.
It was weird for me when I moved to the Midwest from the West Coast, and everyone it was kind of strange, being single on the West Coast and then moving out to the Midwest. And because on the West Coast, being single at my age was pretty normal. I was, 23 or I was 24 when I started seminary. 23 or 24. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then I go out to the Midwest. Yeah, I'm 23 years old, and like all of my cohorts married. And I'm like, okay, so I like skipped somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. Like I was supposed to get married while in the Rockies, I think would have been on day 2 of my road trip. So yeah, the age thing, and that's also just Missouri Synod.
Yeah, that's true.
Culture a little bit, Lutheran, Lutheran culture a bit. So. Yeah.
But I'm glad that it happened that way because both of my parents are no longer here, and they haven't been for a long time. But it's been 27 years since my mom died, and then about 21 or 2 years since my dad died.
Yeah.
So they did get to meet their grandchildren, and so that was good,
And speaking of that, so you have 2 kids, is it? So what are their names? And
Robert and Nicola.
Robert and Nicola.
Nicola.
Okay.
Which in England and Ireland you'll find lots of Nicolas.
Really?
Yeah, it's just as common as Nicole.
Oh.
In that area. And,
so Nicole is just a variation of Nicola. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So and they're my son is 41, and my daughter is going to be 39 this year. So she has 3 kids, and my son's not married and doesn't have any kids. Mm-hmm. So
you have 3 grandchildren now. Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. And I think I've met them. You've brought them to a few events here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah, if I brought the youngest one, I was probably running after him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a busy 4-year-old, he's very busy.
he's energized.
He is. He's a lot of fun, though, and he's just a real sharp, there's nothing wrong with his mind, and so, he's but he's just real busy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that means they're... Well, at least your daughter is local.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she lives in Edgewood.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does your son still live in Washington?
He lives in Denver.
Denver.
He loves it. He absolutely loves Denver. He loves to mountain bike and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full outdoor everything.
Yeah. He loves it out there. So I don't think we'll get him back.
But if there is a similar place to Washington, I feel like Denver is...
It's so beautiful. You went there at Christmas, didn't you?
Well, I went to Grand Junction, so other side of the
state,
Rockies, but
Colorado. Anyway.
still Colorado.
It's a lot sunnier in that state though than it is in.
That's what he says, and even at the same temperature, it feels a lot colder here than it does there because of the dry. It's that wet cold. It's bone chilling. I think here.
Yeah.
So.
Got it was cold recently here. It's just like
Lewis and Clark wintered in 2 places, North Dakota and Astoria, Oregon, essentially. And they were dreaming of like North Dakota when they were wintering in Astoria. They'll take a -40 dry day. Really? Over just the clothes rotting off their bodies.
The wet.
I mean, they were also further in the trip, but I mean, I talked to North Dakotans and people in the Midwest, and they prefer their dry cold over the wet.
That's where
Seattle
my
cold.
daughter and her husband went to school in North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Where at?
Grand Forks.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, personally, I will take this cold over Wisconsin any day.
I bet.
After living through sub-zero winters.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I
That's
can...
like North Dakota. It's where your eyelashes freeze and the nostril hair. I mean, I just remember growing up, like driving to school, just like when I'd get in the car, I just think like, I feel bad for like rocks, like inanimate objects. Like that's how cold it is. Like, like how are these rocks just existing?
Like North Dakota in the winter, for me, the worst part was the wind. You would park like strategically to try to like avoid having to like pry open your door while.
I mean, North Dakota is super flat.
It's right on the plains, high up on the plains, and it.
I never went there in the winter. I only went in the muggy summer.
The high humidity.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did though, because when you live in the Midwest long enough, they all like always are trying to compare winters to each other. Like, oh, you don't really know winters. Like, finally, I got to like, look, I'm not going to one up you, but don't try to one up me.
The Midwest is a slugfest of just people. Every state hates the other state out of love, but they're like Wisconsin hates like Illinois and Minnesota. Like
people in St. Louis felt the same way about Chicago and Illinois.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
They're just like, Illinois, which I thought I'd experience more of when I moved to Washington. I was like, I'm sure Oregon and Washington have like this rivalry, and it's like, no,
it's California.
That's
the chosen state to dislike out here. So not saying for all of our California listeners, love you, but it is no secret to know that is the state that gets the most flack out here.
I wonder if Oregon and Washington had same like sport team or like major sport team, I think there might be more of a rivalry, but
you get it with soccer. With Timbers and Sounders.
Yeah, I don't keep up with soccer. So,
I don't know. It's a pretty strong rivalry between Portland and Seattle and soccer clubs.
So there is that.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a lot of. I've heard a lot of interesting words from both directions because I've lived in both areas, both Seattle and Portland. So
yeah. Oh, well, we digress, but
we're talking about school buses now. We're talking about
school buses,
Timbers,
soccer. That's where we're at now. No, but so how's being a grandma? Like,
grandma's is just great, and my 11 and 13-year-old granddaughters love musical theater too, so we partake of a lot of local theater, and every once in a while we splurge and take them to something, at the Paramount or something like Cinderella or
something
really neat that they want to see. But mostly it's local theater, and there's such great local theaters all around. So and the older one is singing and things too. Now she loves to be involved in music, so I'm enjoying that a lot.
Just watching her perform.
I did that with Nicola. Nicola was as well, and I got to live vicariously through her. And now I'm doing this with Violet.
Do you kind of like train them or coach them, or do you just support them in their? Well,
I don't think my daughter would have taken. It's an interesting thing with mother and daughters, and she's now experiencing the same thing with her daughter, which is really interesting, It's fun to see that, actually. Satisfying.
The face was satisfying.
Yes. What goes around comes around.
I have a fear for my future for the same reason.
Where's my kid's gonna be like me?
That's funny.
Well, that's something we haven't, I guess, we're gotten into yet. I know you very much as a singer and musician and performer with the musical this past fall. How did that? It's very much seems like singing is a hobby of yours, and you love to perform. How did that happen?
Oh, well, I've always been involved in choirs in junior high and high school, and even down at the Episcopal Church. I was in the adult choir. I wasn't really as into the youth group. I don't know why. It was a real small one, and I loved the choir people. They were my people back then, and so and then after high school and then getting married so quickly and everything, I really missed being part of a group. But I learned about a performing group when my kids were 3 and 5. Now I was 24, I think. A performing group that was the ladies group called Harmony Unlimited, and and one of our members here was in it with me, Barbara Lester. She was in it with me, and I was in that group for 10 years, and then it split off into a smaller group that we called Crescendo. And the type of music was Broadway and just all kinds of show tunes and standards, and that, and in 3-part harmony.
And was there music, or was it a cappella?
It was mostly accompanied.
Okay.
Every once in a while, we did something a cappella.
Yeah.
But when it was the big group, for a couple of years, every year, and then it went to every other year, we would do what we called the big show, and we rented out and sold ads for a big, huge musical review at the Auburn Performing Arts Center, the Highline Performing Arts Center, that we did all around here. There wasn't any performing arts in Federal Way at any of the high schools or anything, but a lot of other districts have these big performing arts centers, and we would we all had to sell tickets, sell ad space, do all this stuff, learn.
Like if you're in the group, you have to help.
We had to learn choreography, and the year that I joined, in 87, I think it was, I joined in March, and they were putting a show on in 2 months, and they already knew a lot of the music, and then were adding in things for the show and all the choreography and everything. And I had to learn everything in 2 months. I had to go home, and once I made it into the group and the audition and everything, I had to ask my husband, is this going to be okay? Because this is going to be a lot of nights out.
It's a commitment.
And I have to even drag the kids over to some people's house during the day so I can learn the choreography while the kids play.
Wow.
We did a lot of that, just catching me up to it.
Yeah.
But it was one of the nicest things. I mean, I just treasure those relationships too. Those are still some of my dearest friends that I have from that group.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And it was an opportunity to get to do solos, duets, trios, quartets, and then the big group numbers, and there were skits and all kinds of fun things. So it's like, actually Loretta did something kind of similar to it. When the first show I was in, called No One Is Alone.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of like a musical review, very similar to the type of thing that Harmony Unlimited did.
So just showcasing a lot of different musical acts.
Yeah, and then big group songs, and then, all kinds of fun stuff.
And how long did you do that?
Well,
that group, I guess.
The big group, 10 years.
Okay.
And then the smaller group, probably 12 to 15 years. I mean, it seems like it only just broke up, but it's been a while since I was actually one of the younger people in the group. And and as people were wanting to travel and live in different places, it got kind of hard to keep that together. So we just had to disband. And but it was a highlight of my life to be in that group. Yeah. And the whole time I was also singing in church and
so you were pretty involved with a lot of different music things.
Wow. Yeah. That group aspect of it you kept talking about, and I mean for me that was big when I left college, and it's like I'd been up until that point I'd been in like a band or a choir from like 5th grade on, and then kind of like you're out. And
I know, and that's exactly how I was feeling.
You like working on something with people and like getting it good, and having a chance of failure kind of makes it more exciting. The fact that like if you don't do this, it's not going to go well. Yeah. And honestly, like, man, so but being able to like share those joys in at work and kind of that tension sometimes with people. I mean, it's never perfect. There's always could be drama, there could be whatever, but I really miss that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really, I find that too, just like being able to find a community, and obviously we have that community here at St. Luke's, but like it's also, I don't know, there's like different communities or groups I guess to be part of is just a big thing I never thought about, kind of like coming out of school, like all of a sudden I'm not like, I didn't sign up for anything and I'm just gotta find it in the world.
Yes.
That's what I feel like, like athletic or sporting stuff. Like, man, I really want to play basketball, but like, there's no like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, no one's gonna come to my house and knock on the door like, hey, signups are today. Like, great. Like I have to like work to find this and be involved with that, or I don't know. Yeah, it just made me think of that.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really fascinating. How so it's really like I found it's a really colorful like story that you've painted. Like you've got Irish ancestry and roots.
Yeah.
And then moving to America, not to be a bus driver, but along the way you became a bus driver. And like, that's so just like, it's just so interesting to hear how like these events kind of unfolded. And like, oh, on top of that, you're a singer and a performer too. Like, that's just, it's a really just colorful story. Like,
yeah.
So I really appreciate you sharing, your life story, like from your roots, your beginning, and kind of where you're at now. So you normally sing for the 10:45 service here.
Yes.
So if you want to see Anna Koloen yourself, you can stop by on a Sunday morning. What is it? Third week,
the
second
week,
third weeks,
weekend.
third Sundays of the month.
Yeah.
And maybe some other ones. Yeah. So if you want to meet her, ask her about Ireland, ask her about bus driving. That'd be a great opportunity to do that.
Ask her about her name.
Ask her about her name.
And how it has no bearing on our family, but
Yeah, Swedish name from Ireland
Yeah.
through Canada.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. That's
my maiden name was Love, but that has some Irish roots back to Scotland from some clan. I don't know where it
Same
came from.
spelling?
Yeah. Love.
There's a lot of Loves in Ireland.
Wow. I didn't know that was Irish.
And a love.
Love.
Yep.
Kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. One syllable. I like it. Probably can't get that spelling and pronunciation wrong. Lovey.
No.
Love.
I really liked my last name. I would have liked to have kept it, but I'm kind of traditional, so I didn't.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know you as Anna. Well, I always said Koloen, but Koloen.
I think you should just say that.
Just say it.
I like it better.
More refined sounding than.
We'll just get multiple
We'll just
people
start saying it, and then
it'll catch on.
now that I'm 60, you know.
Yeah. So like my mother's maiden name, like you ask a member of that family, how do you pronounce it? Because it's like, is it Schroeder or is it Schrader? And they're like, it doesn't matter. It's like, you literally, you can choose.
You can choose.
You
Tell
guys can
people
choose. No, Schroeder, Schrader. So I don't know.
It's both.
Change it up depending on how I'm feeling that morning.
That's a well, any closing kind of remarks from you, Pastor David? I don't know.
No, not really. Just thanks for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Hope you get to go to Italy.
I hope so too.
Do those trails and taste that wine and enjoy the warmth.
Enjoy the warmth.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully.
I will go one day. Now that I'm retired, you know, that's why I go to work for the little bits I do. I'm saving up for some of those fun things.
Yes.
Do you have like any particular cities that you want to see there? I mean, you'll probably have to fly into Rome and see Rome for sure, but
Maybe Venice. You know, I don't know. I would see any of it that I got to go to. I really, I'd have to look a little more. I could tell you all about so many different cities in Ireland because we've been planning this trip to go for 3 weeks and we've got this whole itinerary. And I think even if we didn't go, I've enjoyed that so much just looking into it. So I should just plan a trip to Italy, look into everything and plan it all out. And then at least I'll know. I'll learn things about it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. And I feel like if you make it to Italy, I think I feel like it'd be a great time regardless where you flew into. The whole country has so much history. And
Have you been there?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I just like, it's an old country. It's got to be cool everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I don't hear people like coming from Italy. They're like, oh, it's terrible.
yeah, I've never really heard someone have a bad experience in Italy.
Yeah. Maybe just like stuff in the city that, was unfortunate.
I think, watch out for pickpocketing, but that's a lot of
everywhere.
That's
Mediterranean
everywhere.
places.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anything, as we're wrapping up, anything you want people to know, last chance to say like, there's this one thing about me that blah, I don't know.
No, I just feel really thankful to be at this point in my life, and I absolutely love singing with you on the praise team, and I love your leadership there. So
thank you.
I love being part of this church. So
was the music kind of how you found your way to sing? I know I'm like extending it now.
I went to a wedding,
but now I got it.
You know, my cousin Anne, Weezy, her youngest daughter was getting married, and I was sitting in the sanctuary, and the organ was playing, and I thought, gosh, when's the last time I've actually heard an organ being played? And it was just so grand and beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was in it was a time when I was searching for a different church. And I just thought, I don't know why I had never thought about a Lutheran church before. You know, I had been to a Baptist church. I went to a Reformed church for about 17 years, and that was a good experience. But I had never thought about a Lutheran church. So and Pastor Chris was here. That was about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I just started coming, and I never stopped.
Wow.
It was January 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just haven't ever stopped.
So it was kind of a bit of a musical connection.
It was.
To start with.
It was that, and then Pastor Chris was just so warm and loving. And the church that I had been going to for about a year, I never felt like I wasn't ready to be a member of that church. I never felt that.
Yeah.
But after I came here, after I was here about a month, I thought, I'm going to become a member. I'm not going to just, wait around to see, I'm going to join this church, and then I'm going to talk to the praise team person about, and that was Larry at the time. Yeah. And I just thought, I'm just going to dive in, and become a member.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe in some of the preaching that I've had before, some of the teaching of the pastors I've had, stressing that you need to belong, fully belong somewhere. And so I just thought, no, I'm just going to do it. And I loved it. I met with Pastor Chris, like I made an appointment with him, and I met with him and talked about the church and the beliefs, all of, everything about St. Luke's. And I thought it lined up pretty well, because I grew up in the Episcopal Church. And like I said, I went to all these other churches, and I ended up just up the road from the one I started at.
Almost.
And there's some things that are a little bit similar with the Episcopal Church, in that there's a liturgy that, is followed. Yeah. Some of the responses are somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But the other churches that I went to didn't have it was less structured type services that and I really this was just like the best combination of everything that I had been to. And if you really want to have something a little bit more, come to the early service, and you'll get all the liturgy and everything. So, I really enjoy. I think it's just perfect.
That's how you got connected too.
Yeah.
So I forgot to kind of even talk about that. But there's so much to talk about.
I know.
I don't think it's hard, but we didn't have to.
We didn't have to.
I mean, when I was in Bible study with Jan, I kept having to apologize for taking us off in another direction. And I would say, just, tell me, because I like to talk. So I could get you going on something that had nothing to do with what we were supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. But I think we're modeling good conversation. Like it's great. It was a great time spending with you, Anna, and Pastor David. It's just great conversation. I love just hearing where it takes us and just learning about you. So thank you, Anna, so much for joining us. If you're tuning in, if you're listening, watching, whatever you're doing, thank you. If you leave a review or anything that helps us, thank you again. Goes a long way, but really, we're just glad that you're listening. So thank you. And again, thank you guys both. Yep. And with that, we'll catch you all next time.
That's the end of the episode, but we want to continue the conversation. Continue the conversation by sharing this episode, subscribing, or leaving a review. Connect with us on Instagram at 2414podcast. Connect with us through email at 2414@stlukes-church.com. Or best of all, keep the conversation going by inviting someone to process with you so that you can each walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. If you happen to be in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington, stop by on a Sunday morning and say hi. 2414 is a podcast produced by St. Luke's Lutheran Church in Federal Way, Washington. To find more content, discover upcoming opportunities to connect in person, or to support the show, head on over to stlukes-church.com. Thanks for walking with us.